What's going on, Stone Nation? I'm here in sunny California with Lorenzo, and we just installed or should I say, he installed the Mid-City Engineering high idle system with the drone. And this video today is going to show you how to install it and some tips and tricks, along with a secret hidden menu that we didn't know about. So if you're wondering why you or anyone else would want a high idle system for your Storyteller, the reason why is because it'll kick on your engine without having to drive it to an RPM of 1500 to 2000. And what that will do is it will kick in that second alternator and charge your battery without having to move. The main reason why I decided to get it is because we're starting to get into the summertime, and the AC does suck up a lot of energy, even though you can run it for approximately 6 to 8 hours depending on the ambient temperature outside. But if I'm gone for a hike or doing whatever for 4 to 5 hours, I'm probably going to come back to anywhere from 10 to 30% battery. And if I don't want to move, I can just do the high idle, charge my battery back up to about, I don't know, anywhere from 70, 80% or something like that.
Yeah.
Without having to move. And so, which is crucial in boondocking land. As soon as you move, that spot is open. So
it's lost.
If you have a sweet spot,
Yeah.
it's gone. But anyways, so that's why I decided to get it. Now, Lorenzo here has had the high idle system for quite some time, and if you want to talk about your experience real quick.
Well, this is actually what happened to me. We were out camping, and it happened to be a little bit of a hotter day, so I ended up using the AC. It lowered the batteries a bit, so I was like, oh, let me kick on the high idle and recharge the batteries. So what happened was that I did not actually check the status of the DPF filter before running that. So what happened in my case, that halfway through that cycle of an hour, my check engine light came on because the DPF filter got full. And according to Mercedes-Benz specs, the regen cycle for the DPF filter kicks on when you're driving the vehicle only. That was the reason for my check engine light going on, was because DPF filter got full. We could not kick off the regen cycle, so it said, oh, there's an issue. By driving the vehicle, the DPF filter, completed its cycle. It started the regen cycle. Once the regen cycle was complete, everything was once again back to normal. It really isn't an issue with the Mid-City Engineering module or with the sprinters. It's just a matter of making sure that you keep an eye on that DPF filter when you're going to run it on high idle. I know that a lot of you guys are going to ask about questions about modifying your vehicle. Mid-City Engineering actually has a lot of facts and data that you can research on their website, and you can also contact them directly and speak to them if you have any further questions with regards to any warranty related stuff.
So depending on what package you get, it can vary anywhere from about $800 to $1,200. So I guess the big question, since you've had it for a while, is do you think it's worth it?
You know what? I think it is. I guess with the caveat, I'm a gadgets kind of guy. So anytime I get to play with a new gadget or try out something new, I'm all for it. One of the coolest options that I like is the drone, just because of the fact that it gives you access via the app. It allows you to get notifications on your phone.
Yeah, and that's approximately $5 a month subscription fee on top of that, right?
Yeah.
I think you get the first 30 days free, and then after that you have to sign up.
Yeah, so you do get the first 30 days free, and if you sign up within that 30-day window, they have a couple different tiers of plans, but the least expensive or the basic plan can be as low as $3 a month if you sign up on a 3+ year plan.
So one of the main reasons why I decided to pay the extra money to get the drone is because it's GPS enabled. As you mentioned, it has a temperature gauge on it, but most importantly, you can lock and unlock and remote start anywhere that you have internet service, because the drone portion itself, as you'll see in the installation, is built-in LTE. So as long as there's some type of cellular connection, you'll be able to start and stop your vehicle, which I think is really cool. I mean, I'm happy that you installed it. Thank you, by the way. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so here we are starting the installation process. So Lorenzo, you want to go over real quick what exactly needs to happen in a nutshell?
Yeah, so a brief overview. Essentially, we take apart the kick panel area to be able to access or remove that little kick panel. You have to remove this little plate that screws towards the bottom, and it holds in place the rubber mat underneath the driver's side, and it also kind of holds in place the bottom portion of that kick panel.
So here you're taking off the panel and you're basically disconnecting all the connecting points, right?
Correct.
And so right now you take off the kick panel and then you unscrew a couple of the screws and then you have some built-in.
Yeah, they're plastic fasteners that they have in a couple of different spots. I think like three different fasteners, and right there we're using a T25 Torx bit to remove the screws.
Okay, so right here you're pulling off the side panel. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a small plastic piece that kind of covers the top portion of the kick panel. That's just held by fasteners, so it just snaps off, and back in. So there at the bottom, there's a little overlapping piece that has a bit of a clip as well, and it's very tight to kind of separate them and be able to squeeze it through, so you kind of have to play with it a little bit. You also feed through the hood release lever after you unbolt that, and then the whole last piece is you unclip the ODB2 sensor plug. Once you remove that, the whole little kick panel piece comes completely free. At that point, I was just making sure that I had removed everything that needed to be removed.
So there are 2 points of plugins where you have to install the Mid-City Engineering device, right? So real quick, as we're looking at it, where exactly are these 2 points?
Essentially 2 harnesses that gets plugged in. You plug in the factory cable into the Mid-City Engineering T harness, and then the other gets plugged into the factory ECU and the other module as well.
So it's a simple plug and play then.
Yeah, it's as simple as plug and play can get. Oh, it's just gonna say, and the ports that get plugged in, they're all color coded, so you plug in black with black and blue with blue. One thing to know is that the plugs only fit one way, so if it's not going in, then maybe you have it the wrong way. I think the only other thing I did with the blue connector was I added a zip tie just for peace of mind, so that I know that it doesn't slip out while you're driving. So in this section, we're actually going to be disassembling the spare key fob. Essentially, we remove the cover, we remove the battery. The Mid-City Engineering battery or key fob box actually has a power supply that gets inserted into the battery portion of key fob. It essentially resides in that box. That's required, and basically it allows you to, do some of the functions with the Mid-City module. There's a little plastic bridge that needs to be placed right above the unlock button on the key fob. However you place the key fob, just make sure that resides right above it and that it is able to depress on the unlock button of the key fob.
Okay, now that you put the key fob in the proper box and screwed it all nice and tight, here you have two modules, right? So you have to make sure you put it in the correct one.
They're all labeled. In most cases, I believe the cable connectors are, like I said, each of the ports are labeled as to what you need to plug into the Mid-City module.
So here you're now starting to install the drone system, which is connected through LTE, correct?
Correct. It actually gives gives the Mid-City module LTE signal. It also gives a GPS signal, and it also has sensors for like temperature, stuff like that.
Yeah, and so here it has a sticker on the module, and so you have an option to stick it on the door frame, which I went ahead and did because that serial number is what will basically track your vehicle, correct?
That component is the drone component, and that's what they base any of the troubleshooting or any tracking is based on that serial number.
Gotcha. And then also you need that serial number to put into the app to use the drone system, correct?
To pair it to the drone, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so here you're plugging in the drone into the module, right?
Correct. And like I mentioned earlier, dedicated spot for the drone connection, so it's pretty simple.
And then here you're telling me about where you mounted and suggested that I mounted my drone. Either you can mount it back in the back behind the plastic, or you can mount it on top of the plastic.
So at this point, before we put everything, back together, we're gonna test it out. So lower the windows, close the doors, then we lock it with the key fob. So once everything's locked, you do the sequence lock, unlock, lock, and that's what triggers the remote start.
Okay, then to turn it off, you unlocked it using the remote?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then to take over.
Oh, hang on. Okay. So you brake, and then just like you're starting it.
Just like you're starting, and then you can drive off.
Nice. Sweet.
As far as putting everything back together, doing the same steps that you did to disassemble and reassemble. As far as the Mid-City engineering modules, what I end up doing is just zip tying those to. There's a very thick bundle of cables run up kind of high towards the top of that kick panel area, or that area underneath the steering column. And I just use zip ties and zip tie the three boxes to that bundle of wires.
So Mid-City Engineering was smart enough to put a hidden menu in where you can adjust the RPM and some other stuff. And honestly, I don't know what 99% of this stuff means, so I don't recommend messing around with it other than what you actually know it's for. But here, can you walk us through the steps of what we're doing right now?
Essentially, in the center cluster, you're going to select the radio function. And once you select the radio function, you're going to select or depress the mute button for a few seconds, which brings up this hidden menu.
So the mute button, in case someone doesn't know, is the scroll. You just push it in, right?
Yeah, the volume scroll, if you depress it, that's the mute button.
For the actual hidden menu that a lot of people may not know, in order to access that, you got to scroll all the way to the bottom right until it hits factory reset.
And then you depress the hang up buttons. for a few seconds, and then that brings up a different menu, which gives you the following options. While you're in the idle RPM, you click and it increments by 250 RPMs. So, and it'll cycle through between off, 1250, 1500, 1750, and 2000. So those are the different settings that you can set it to. Now remember, with the Volta system, the alternator that charges the Volta system needs to run at least 1500 RPM.
Yeah, and I'll add one side note because I have the Bluetooth adapter that Volta makes. So I'm going to test out what 1500 RPM does in regards to recharging the Volta battery because I have the Bluetooth module that Volta makes. And so I'm curious to see what kind of amperage or what kind of wattage I'm going to get recharging back into the battery. So I'll go ahead and show that right now. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful, and the cool thing about this is that Lorenzo's been working with Mid-City and he actually has a promotion code that he was able to work out with him. Do you want to tell him about it?
Yeah, so I was actually talking to Mid-City Engineering, and they were gracious enough to provide a coupon code that essentially allows any of the users to obtain a 10% discount, free shipping. Now it's a great opportunity to do so since you'll get a little bit of a discount.
Yeah, and I'll be sure to put the coupon code down in the show notes. Just know again that it expires May 5th. So if you're watching this and it's past May 5th, 2021, I'm sorry. So if you're watching it before, now's the time to jump on it because 10% is a great deal. It saves you approximately $100 for the system that we installed today. So, alright, thanks again for watching. Until then, can't wait to share the road with you.
We should just do a bloopers video.
Oh my god.
Let's do this. Come on.
Alright. What's good?
I think it's kind of catchy when.
Anyways, so if you don't know,
Click on the high idle and recharge the batteries.
yeah, it's too far to see. No. Today's video is being brought to you. Wait, that's stupid. What is going on, Stone Nation?
Hello.
Someone would want the high idle system. It's very